kamaha o hano hano ha'e ha'e la I talai Hawai'i putahi te aoe Tala ta'onohi te aoe Erike me pokako kupuna mo ke wau e hawia o ko I ku aloha Hula, mamuli o ke ali'i, pono e noho kokoli, mamua o oko. Mahalo nui me ka ha'a no ka hele ana mai I keia la. E hele kākou I hilo, ea. Ai, a hilo au. A hilo au e la ho'olu, lutale huala a Hawai'i, lutula I talu. Watanata la aha ilia hula I te tu la manu la havana evala I tamo tule huala lele ivi ola I te taila ahamolo taila I te ala taila no talani no no talani
Hakahae na Hawai'i, lo kahi a kulike. Olu kamana'o, ha'a kou kulani. Ahonu I a lana kila. Aloha e. Aloha o hili ko'u inoa, hele au ki kulanui o HPU. Mahalo no ke here ana mai I keia la.
Le hano I te ho'ohi e me ka hano me te aloha e Le ia e ta ohana e me te aloha e Aloha Mako ia oko
Aloha and welcome.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mary Tess McKee, Assistant Vice President and Dean of Students for HPU. It's a special day today for the university, a day almost 2 years in the making. Many of you have participated in or have been aware of Hawaii Pacific University's efforts to better understand what sets us apart in the world of higher education. We asked you, our faculty, staff, and students, as well as our alumni, our state's business leaders, and our prospective students and parents to share their experiences. Today, we share those insights with you. What's most exciting about today, though, is that we have asked you here to discover how your insights have informed our new face of our university. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the stage the leader of this initiative to revitalize and more authentically reflect the character of our university, our president, John Gotanga.
Aloha. Delighted to see so many of you here today for our brand reveal event. I'd like to especially thank Simpson Scarborough, Jason and his team for being here, Zane and his team for also being here. I'd also like to thank a number of trustees that have come out here to join us. Jeff Boromisa, Richard Hunter, Honorable Linda Lingo, Lance Rohan, and Steve Baker. Thanks all for coming out today. Thank you. Let's give them a hand. A strategic goal of the university, and one that has actually been in the last 2 strategic plans, is to increase the visibility and profile, in other words, to better tell our story to the world. And it is really a great story to tell, because at the heart of this story, it's remarkable people, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and friends who created an unparalleled international learning community set at the intersection of where East meets West, where lives are transformed through the personalized, innovative, hands-on education. And to help us with this process, we enlisted one of the nation's leading market research and creative firms, Simpson Scarborough. What we asked them to do was to undertake a brand discovery process that involved all of our constituencies. We asked them to engage our communities about the key aspects of an HPU education, about how our core values are reflected in what we do day in and day out, and our vision for HPU for the coming years. We also asked them to look beyond our community, to talk with our prospective students, to talk with their parents, to talk with business leaders, to help us understand what their needs are and how the university can play a role in meeting them. And as you hear in a few minutes from Jason Simon of Simpson Scarborough, with this wealth of information and data, we were able to bring to life a clear, consistent, powerful message about who we are and what we stand for, and to give a voice to our unique brand. Our branding strategy, though, also gave us a unique opportunity to create new visual elements that better represented our brand. We wanted these new visual elements to reflect our core mission, our core values, and importantly, our long-standing and deep ties to our local culture. Thus, we partnered with legendary Hawaiian artists and storytellers, Zig Zane, to help develop a new logo, an image that is truly reflective of our institution and our ties to Hawaii. And similar to the branding process, Sig and his team embarked on an really inclusive discovery process. They met with members of our community. They met with faculty, staff, students, trustees, alumni, to learn about our institution and about our community. And they did extensive research about the area to learn about our ties to the land and about our history. And all of this culminated in an exciting new mark that Sig and his team are here with us to unveil today. So today, we mark a new chapter in how we tell the HPU story. Starting today, you will see new visual aspects of our brand on campus, on our website, and in the community. And you will start to hear one clear and powerful voice about our brand. And our brand is, in the end, our promise. It's our promise to the world about Hawaii Pacific University. And with that, I'd like to thank and now introduce you to Simpson Scarborough Vice President Jason Simon. Mahalo.
Thank you all for having us today. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce a couple of the team members on our team. Mike Rowe, who's our creative director, and Kristen Ingalls, a senior strategist on our team who've really done the heavy lift on this project from our side. We're so proud and humbled to be here with you today on this day of celebration, and really have been on this journey with you all for the past 18 months. I think this is our 5th trip to campus during that time, and during the time we talked to over 3,000 community members, HPU community members, and we are going to share with you just really quickly a little bit of the strategy and some of the research findings that have led to this culmination today, so that you can that you can see with us some of the things that we saw in understanding what the HPU brand is. So we began by really assessing the situation. We did a assessment of the brand overall, looking at the HPU brand in relation to some other competitors and some other aspirant institutions. We then did qualitative research, so focus groups, discovery sessions, interviews, many with the HPU community, also with prospective students and their families. Then we went out and we did a whole host of quantitative research, so online surveys that thank you to each of you. Many of you participated in, and we collected all of your feedback and input. And then finally we did a lot of creative concept testing, so we looked at different visuals, different ways of expressing the brand, different ways that things could come to life, collected your input and feedback on that, looked at which things were positive, which things were negative, which things felt authentic to the institution, and really crafted a really amazing strategy that we're very proud of. So the research provided really valuable insight into some current perceptions, but also, really importantly, also some opportunities. what opportunities lie for HPU in envisioning a future. And we thought we would share a little bit from the study with you. The final research study, many of you were here last time. We shared highlights of this. It was about 300 pages of really, really in-depth quantitative data looking at all kinds of things by various factors and by various audience groups. You can't really get too much from that, so we thought we would share a little bit. Both aided and unaided awareness of HPU as an excellent school was really strongest among military students, parents, and alumni, but it dropped, interestingly enough, for prospective students and for faculty and staff. Perception of HPU's academic quality was strongest among parents, military students, and alumni. Over 70% of internal audiences either agreed or strongly agreed that they were proud to be a part of HPU, something that we really felt was an important thing for us to emphasize and bring to life through some of the creative strategies. How do we capture the momentum and positive feelings of the HPU community? Audiences really know HPU for strengths in nursing, marine biology, and business right now. Great opportunities to increase awareness in other programs and begin to build strengths and awareness in other programs. HPU's location, diversity, and the cross-cultural experience were really recognized across all of the audiences as well. And then finally, there was a real intimate and supportive environment that audiences recognized for HPU students and alums, those who had been through the HPU experience, in it being a real strength of the institution, sort of this idea of crafting your own experience and your own opportunities at HPU, creating your own pathway. These are a few. I'll share quickly some of the anecdotes that we heard from throughout the process, whether it was in the qualitative research or in some of the creative testing, just to give you a little bit of a sense of how some of those 300 pages of research data came to life through some of the things that folks said. Really, really great and positive feedback and a lot of real insight across all of the studies that we did. So ultimately, we boiled all of the research findings down to really these 6 key strategic drivers that we felt were important in bringing the HPU brand and identity to life. We shared these with many of you the last time that we were here. The strength of location. So this seems to be the most obvious, but the importance of Hawaii, the importance of your location, really taking advantage of that. The diversity and cross-cultural environment that exists at HPU, the intersection that you are in, the intimate supportive environment, the robust academics and learning environment that is created at HPU, the opportunity for students to get a real hands-on and experiential approach to learning here at HPU as well. And then finally, a real personal and tailored approach, that there isn't just one path to success, and that students and faculty play a really key role in moving students to that success and providing opportunities for them. So that led to the real core brand platform. How do we boil all of this down to a single story, to a few words, to ways that we begin to express it? And it really began with this foundation, the location, right? It's one of those things, as I said before, it's the most obvious, but it's a really critical thing. Our community, the strength and service that's associated with the community. Diversity, the power of diverse backgrounds and viewpoints. And then those enduring Hawaiian values that are really a part of the mission and tradition of the institution and are so important to this community. That led to key brand pillars. We looked at 3 key areas. What does HPU do differently and better than other institutions? And that really is to serve as an international hub, a nexus of East and West, urban and rural, of experiences, cultures, ideas, and industries. How does HPU connect to people, and what connects them to HPU? An enthusiastic approach to community and an intimate, personalized education that unites diverse peoples around the world. And what HPU believes in, a Hawaiian way of life, and learning expressed through the traditional values of the islands and of Ohana. These became our core brand pillars and are the message pillars that will exist moving forward as the institution tells its story. And this really then is the core brand mantra. So the core position that exists for the institution moving forward. Knowledge is more easily grasped when you receive a hands-on education. It brings new perspectives and viewpoints that are uniquely yours into focus. So the opportunity for the personalized education to come through in the unique experience that HPU offers. Brought together around this idea of look closer, see further, and do more. So the HPU brand has begun to roll out and be used in a few different places, primarily with prospective students and recruiting undergraduate students in the fall, all the way through the early parts of 2018. You can see we took a really vibrant approach to the visual style and the language in trying to bring the HPU brand to life. Some examples of some of the materials, posters that were created, some banners, and some digital ads, real vibrant photography and active photography, and really dynamic and engaging photography that really shows the opportunity to look closer and to experience that hands-on education. We will say that great brands are really built through consistency. And so that's part of the reason that we're here today with you, is to begin to not only celebrate the launch of this brand, but to help and enable all of you in helping tell this story. So over the next few days, we'll be sharing with the community. I think we have 2 training sessions, and I think there's several hundred people that are registered at this point. And we're really excited about that. Things like guidelines and templates. There's a brand website and resources that have been created to enable all of you to tell the HPU story, and a series of workshops where we'll do trainings and further discussion about this. So we're very excited and look to this to really be the starting point for the full expression of the HPU brand moving forward.
On behalf of the entire university, Jason, we thank you for your entire team at Simpson Scarborough for your dedication to understanding our university and building a visual identity that captures our spirit and attracts like-minded people to our ohana. Our next guests hardly need introduction. They are staples in our Hawaiian community as artists and storytellers. There exists no better team at sourcing meaning from the world around them and teaching people to appreciate and live our island values than the brilliant people at Sig Zane Designs. Please give a warm round of applause to Sig Zane, Huha'u Zane, and Nalani Kanakaole of Sig Zane Designs.
Aloha kako. You know, I went out and stood below Aloha Towers. I looked to Mauka and saw Nu'uana Valley. Of course, the rain had parted, and I got to see the mountains. Then I looked toward Waianae, and I saw what a central spot we are. And you know, that's the whole thing that we really love about place. You know, not only Hawaii as a general place, but really the specific spot that we are right now is such an impressive place in all the environmental, I mean, how it's shaped from the Ahupua'a and how Mamala Bay is right here. It really is nice, and I think that one of the things that I was happy most of all, we left Hilo this morning, and it was totally clear. Mauna Kea was beautiful. And then when we came toward Honolulu, you couldn't even see it. And for once, you know, no one could tell me, oh, you brought the rain from Gila. Nah, it was beautiful today. We come from a school. We come from a school that is 7 generations old. And that school, that discipline, is hula, traditional hula. And it is something that what we want to perpetuate exactly how we were taught. And hula is really the language, the history, everything about Hawaii. You know, when you think about it, there was no written language. So hula was everything. That is that lifestyle that we come from. You know, all that rigorous training, all that discipline is what we bring to our design. And coming to HPU at this Aloha Towers Marketplace, we see that there's a lot of power in place. Today I brought the ohana. My wife Nolani Kanakole will speak about place, the power of place. And then Kuha'o will share the process of how we come up with the imagery. And then after that we'll unveil the new emblem. But thank you again for this opportunity that we get to share our culture, our sense of design, and more importantly, our traditions and our practices. Thank you again.
Aloha. Aloha. Thank you for having me here today. I'm really kind of nervous. And accepting this job, I knew it was going to be a challenge because I was challenged with the fact that I would have to convince you of place and the power of place. As you see here, you're actually in the Nu'uanu Ahupua'a. And Honolulu is a part of that Nu'uanu Ahupua'a. And what you see here is, you know, when I was 7 years old, that was my first drive through the Pali, and I saw this. So every time Nu'uanu is mentioned, back goes that trigger back to the upside down waterfalls. Water was a real important factor in the making of Nu'uanu Valley. It's a perfect valley. And why I say it's a perfect valley, because it can be traversed. You can go over the Kolaus, come back in a day. That was a perfect valley. The other thing about Nu'uanu, that it's quite charged with history. And the kind of history that goes back several thousand years. What's important to me is Nu'uanu and the water. That was the first thing that held me and held my attendance to this subject here, Nu'uanu. And then what you're seeing here is the people of Wai'ikahalulu. Wai'ikahalulu is further down, you know, right over there where the Chinese temple is the confluence of the Nu'uanu stream and the Waolani stream that comes together. And you see here, I guess this was 100 years old photo, but they had bathing rights. that went on along the streams. That was very traditional to the people that lived in the valley at that time. What impressed me most about Nu'uanu is the Hawai'is. The Hawai'is are natural waterways that tap into the hydrology of the mountains and feed the fields, the taro fields here, the taro lo'is. Nu'uanu has an extensive Hawaii system that's in existence today. I was so impressed and amazed that early in the century, the Hawaiis there set precedents to the ordinance that you cannot cover up in Hawaii. It has to flow naturally down into the ocean. This is important because this is what made Nu'uanu Stream, and it is what made Nu'uanu Valley. Not only Nu'uanu on the right side, but Nu'uanu on the left side, where Liliha is. That's a beautiful area that was really farmed nicely. The thing is, it held together Honolulu for centuries. It fed Honolulu for centuries. So Nu'uanu was that important a place to go and visit and look at all of the wonderful things that are here. The Hawaii system, I was so impressed with that. It gives attention to the intelligence of the Hawaiian people 2 centuries ago and how they tapped into the hydrology of the mountaintops. Nu'uanu and its confluence. Confluence is the joining of the streams, is what made Honolulu Harbor a fair harbor, a fair haven. So in other words, it was the stream that carved out the harbor. Now in traditional Hawaiian values, the Ahupua'a system not only starts from the mountaintop all the way down to the ocean, but it continues on into the ocean all the way to Mamala. And Mamala is the opening in the bay. What is really important in this fact is that the water brings you, puts you right in the front of everything incoming and outgoing. What I found about Nu'uanu is that there was a lot of positives that killed out the negatives that happened in Nu'uanu. I was thrilled for that. But it is the water that makes this place special. You see here, there's the Nu'uanu Stream, and the confluence is Waikahalulu. And then you also see that the Pauoa Stream from the valley of Pauoa comes and it joins there right up the road here. And together, it forms the harbor. So, your traditional Ahupua'a actually starts at what I call Pu'ukakela. And Pu'ukakela is your Hawaii Loa campus, because it's right there at the groin where the orographic clouds push and lift up over the mountaintops. It's right there by Lanihuli, where it catches all of the clouds and brings down the water into the southern valleys. Next. Do I have an X? Okay. What I found that was important to me was, you know, in this area here, there was a dry forest of llama trees. And right over here across the river is called Kapalama. Pa is the enclosure of llama trees. And there they would have institutions of higher learning, or they would sequester chiefs and chiefesses. And there, they would put them there for higher learning. Kapa Lama. So Lama becomes sort of like the emblem, because it is recognized not only as the tree for higher learning, enlightenment, to bring light, but it is also recognized as a ko'a. Okay, I said a Hawaiian word that nobody knows. Ko'a is something that attracts, but it is also a ko'a that attracts that kind of water. And you see here, these are the llama forests. Okay, so place is important here at Kapu'ukolo. This place is important because here you can see up Ahipu'u, you can see Makuku, you can see Luaka. It is from this place that accepts all of the positive things that come down through the valley. Thank you, mahalo.
Now that we fixed that, I'll be using this one. Aloha kako. You know, as far as having this opportunity to be here today at HPU, this is definitely a unique opportunity, and it's something that I don't want any feedback or anything, but it's a unique opportunity, but it's also something that I definitely appreciate because currently, talking to you guys today, this is probably the closest I'll ever get to a 4-year degree. So thank you for your time today. And don't get me wrong, I'm living it up right now, just like taking it every drop. But no, thank you to you guys here today, and definitely thank you to the land that has been here before all of us, and the land that we stand upon. And then also thank you to the people that have been here, the people seen, as well as the people unseen. And also to the people that has made today happen, alongside with John and our team, our partners, as well as my parents, and each of you here today. So, just by show of hands, how much of you actually memorized everything my dad and mom said? None, okay, sounds about right. Did you guys want me to talk on top here? Does this work better? Okay. So, understanding that everybody, memorized it 100%, we'll be having a test after this. Please, no notes. But I'll just help you memorize a little bit of it. So first, starting off with this lama tree. Every Monday and Wednesday, since I don't have a 4-year degree, that's my version of higher learning. Monday and Wednesday is when I practice hula. And for me, hula gives me that understanding of my history, but not necessarily just from that perspective of historic. It gives me an understanding of my environment so that I can be more familiar in how to thrive in my environment. And for me, that's my version of higher learning. In the corner of my halau, the place of higher learning, is a lama. And that lama is a representation of enlightenment. And so with that understanding of enlightenment, there are certain key items. There are certain key items that you need to have that understanding. So starting off, first of all, as we spoke about it earlier today, we had aloha, pono, and kuleana. And these were values that were existing before we even took this job, as my mom said. But at the same time, we have an understanding or we have a perspective of these 3 words. And so what we wanted to do from our hula perspective is try and bring in what we feel the definition of these words are and try to merge them with the understanding of these values as values of HPU. So within that, aloha is about the idea of interaction, having that empathy and having that understanding within each other, but also having that understanding with the environment that you live in, and that environment here is nu'uanu. Pono is very similar to work, like your day-to-day work. You come into work every day, or you come into class every day, and what you take notes on or what you work on is what you leave behind for everybody else. And so that same concept of pono is about doing conscious work, making sure that you have righteous work to leave behind for everyone else. And that in a Hawaiian system would be an auai. An auai is how you divert the water from the river, from the original source, and you divert it to your field so that you may plant your kalo, so that you can feed your ohana. But with that same thing in mind, you have to keep in mind that there are other people that need that water further down the river. And so with that in mind, an auai has to be a very conscious effort and has to be a very righteous effort, because you have to make sure that you put the water back in better than you received it. And so at the same time, you're keeping this ahupua'a mentality, but keeping in mind also that within your day-to-day work, you have to be righteous or you have to be pono. Third is kuleana. And kuleana is on 2 different levels. Kuleana could be your responsibility and what you're responsible for, but also what you're responsible for is the ownership of land. And here, being at Umala Bay, we are in ownership of Nu'uanu Valley. Not necessarily as far as titles are concerned, but more in the fact that if the water source is coming from the top over there and it's serving Umala Valley, then you guys as a whole have to have a ahupua'a or a community mentality so that everyone be able to benefit within this valley. And those are 3 values here. It's aloha, pono, and kuleana. Now, how do we take these values and translate them something into, something you can memorize? Because all of that last half hour of talk or 15 minutes of talk, a little difficult to hey, tell me what this is about. So that said, my mom said something interesting earlier, and she spoke about the valley and the upside down waterfall. And to me, I felt that that was something pretty important, because just as much as when my dad left Hilo and he saw Mauna Kea, it was absolutely calm, that incited some sort of memory for him. And just as much as my mom, when she was 7 years old and she was traveling through the valley, she saw the upside down waterfall, and that immediately brought up Nu'uanu, and that was something significant for her. And so for me, I feel as graphic designers, of course graphic designers, but for me more importantly as Hawaiian designers, I feel that our job is to incite memory. And beyond that inciting of memory, imagine if you're looking at a mountain, I would want you to incite all of those memories that you have with that mountain. But for my job, ohe kapala, or the bamboo stamp, which is a traditional Hawaiian design, my job is to take these shapes and have you incite value out of them. So today, we'll go through some of these shapes, and I'll share some of the values that we hope to incite. First of all, this is Lama. We spoke about Lama being that enlightenment and being that overall goal of higher education. And with that same understanding, we wanted to create this as an overall emblem or as something to look forward to. This is the young sprout of Lama. And having that same understanding that each of you as students, for those of you that are students, you are that young sprout. You are the ones that is going to have to feed the overall tree. So highlighting the sprout, we wanted to take one leaf. I'm going to start moving a little quicker through this section, but we wanted to take that one leaf and really try and pick up on some of the visual cues of this leaf. Taking the shapes of Ohaikapala and the simple angular shapes of it, the biggest understanding is how does this shape or how does this leaf feed the overall tree? And with the linear shapes, you can see that with the same understanding as a valley that brings the water and delivers it down, the same thing or the same job and responsibility is for this simple leaf. And so these lines kind of speak to that responsibility. The simple Ohaikapala, it's not only just the positive, but also it's the negative within that. And so not necessarily negative in a bad way, but just understanding that there's a balance of the two. So what you see is the positive, but keep in mind also the negative. We spoke about the valley and that understanding of the delivery of water, but at the same time mirroring that same visual in a leaf. But at the same time, we wanted to have some sort of meeting point. I mean, as a school, as this Mamala Bay, we wanted to figure out how we can bring this delivery of water, or it may be a delivery of knowledge at a meeting point. And so these two come together to one main shape. And within that, we had three different values that we had to make sure that we incite here. We had aloha, we had pono, and kuleana. And so just as much as a team as it takes to hold up these values, we wanted both of these teams to come together and formulate focus points on these 3 points. With that understanding, if we're all here at Mamala Bay now and we're all to look up Mocha, I would want each of you to have that same vision of looking from the bay and imagining that you could see clearly all the way up to the valley. And with that same understanding you see here, each of the deliveries of the water or each of the delivery of this knowledge comes flowing from the top all the way down to here at Aloha Tower at Mamala Bay. That in mind, how are you going to tell this to somebody else? Can you get them? Yeah. We'll see about that. There's a few important values that I just want to illustrate to you, and I'm hoping that just as much as that Mauna Kea or that Nu'uanu, I hope that these shapes also incite values within you, or let these shapes incite values within you. The first one is maka, and maka is eyes. Everybody say eyes. I know it's morning time, we can roll that a bit out of that. Everybody say eyes. Eyes. But it's also faces. Everybody say faces. Faces. So maka, as a diamond shape, there's faces. And within that maka, there is 2 main faces within a school. There are people that have the knowledge and the people that get served the knowledge. And within that, this is in here as a diamond, but also both of them to represent those 2 different groups. Second, we have Hawai'i, and that same concept of having to have righteous work within there. We have 3 focal lines in here that also represent that aloha, pono, and kuleana, and also represent the idea that in the diversion of water, you have to make sure that the water goes back to its source and is able to service everyone below you. So at the same time, these are these 3 horizontal lines that represent the Hawai'is within this valley. Secondly, we have the source of water. Now, just as my mom spoke of Lanihuli up at the top of the mountain and those memories that it incites while she looks at these mountains, this is the Kumuvai. Everybody say Kumuvai. Thank you. Kumuvai is the idea of where is that source of knowledge, no matter if it's a teacher or where is that source of water if it's the top of the mountain. And keeping all of that in mind, you have to make sure that it's a clean delivery from the source all the way through to you, to the next generation, or to the next classroom. And that's keeping in mind this source and delivery. Alongside this source, and talking about delivery, there's a few important factors within a valley. You don't only have one river, you have multiple rivers that service down to the meeting point or to that confluence of flows down here at Mamala Bay. And so the other important factor is the kahawai, and that's the flow of water. And to me, I see the kahawai as important teachers, or maybe it's the technology that delivers the knowledge, or that delivers that water forth. And so keeping the kahawai as an important or an integral part of this value system. So we have the maka, which is both the knowledge that is held and the knowledge that is served to. And then we also have the kumuvai, where is source, and then we also have the delivery, which is the kahawai, and then we also have the awai, which is the constructed or the righteous construction, the righteous work. And lastly, if all of that is together, considering that I feel like I just graduated right now, I feel like I should grab a diploma. When you have all of that together, then you have your overall higher learning, and the end goal all in mind is to have enlightenment. And that was what this overall emblem represents. Mahalo.
Before we reveal to our ohana the mark that you and your team have carefully and artfully created for us, we would like to thank you for rooting Hawaii Pacific University in a sense of place and purpose. Beyond the beauty of our paradise home, we wanted people to experience the spirit of HPU and carry with them the traditions and values that make our university so special. Our people are altruistic by nature, and we strive to be contributors to our community while serving those around us. Your process of bringing sacred Native Hawaiian perspective to the identity of a group is unparalleled. And we will forever appreciate how your work has synthesized our deep commitment to Hawaii and our local culture. We will figuratively and literally wear the identity you've created for us, proudly and gratefully. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, students and staff, faculty and friends, we present to you the new mark for Hawaii Pacific University.
Yay, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Ko iau pono ka'ike. The saying is part and parcel with this emblem. This identity is not separated at all by all what we just shared with you. Ko iau pono ka'ike is what we'd like you to take away today. And each of the elements is symbolic of this place, of Nu'uanu, of Lanihuli, of even Pu'ukakela on the other side of the Ko'olau, because really that's where it all begins, yeah? This imagery is really just the tangible form of all the stories, of the history, of all what Melanie spoke of all what Puha'o mentioned. Just as hula is the tangible form of all the stories, this ohe kapala, this mark, provides the elements to those stories. Ko'ihau pono kaiki is really what we'd like you to take from now forth. With this imagery, we stand on this historic ground, on this place that is blessed with all the waters from Nu'uana, with all the history of place, with all the power of place, with all the energy of place. The confluence of the water, of the energy, all really are part of this place. We spoke about give and take. We talk about aloha, we talk about pono and the kuleana. But it is really each of our responsibility to be a part of that give and take, that reciprocation. That's what makes the cycle continue. We, each of us, you and I, are all being enlightened by this place. We are all the beneficiaries of all what has happened, but of what is happening right now. With the waters still flow, the rains still come, the power is still here, the energy is still here. We are very fortunate that location is right here at this spot. We are the beneficiaries. So let this emblem stand for all of that we have shared with you today. Let it stand for the power of place. Let it stand for the enlightenment. And let us all aspire with perseverance. Mahalo.
Seeing the new material, I think that it draws people in. The pictures really tell a story, and they make you get a sense of what HPU is all about.
I really like that. I like how it actually shows the hands-on, how it emphasizes that.
Shows you how diverse the school is and the opportunities that HPU provides.
I like how you emphasize the different colleges and the study abroad particularly.
Yeah, I think the photography and pictures in here do a really good job at getting them excited to go to school here.
Show more consistent story. I can read about all the different majors.
HPU seems to have a more unified look and feel.
Very user-friendly. The colors pop and it makes you want to actually look at stuff on the website.
I like it.
This is really great.
Ooh, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
It's nice.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I like it. But it's cool.
If I was at a school convention and whatnot, I'd definitely go, wow, this is cool.
We're really able to show what we are about and who we are as a school.
Look closer, see further, do more. Hawaii Pacific University.
Thank you all for taking time out of your day today for this special presentation. You have been all instrumental in getting us to this point. Beyond today, we do ask one more thing of each of you, that you go forward in your studies, your teachings, and your relationships, sharing HPU's values of aloha, pono, and kuleana. You have an important role, not just in our present, but also in our future of Hawaii Pacific University's brand and impact on the world. We invite you to the lanai for lunch and to celebrate the brand new launch of our university. Mahalo nui loa, and go Sharks.